Poetry is the answer when there are no answers found in voices or eyes. Poetry is what survives a famine of a soul or a heartbreak. Poetry is what remains after everything is destroyed. This is Sunil Bhandari, and you are listening to Uncut Poetry, a guide to the difficult art of life whilst making love. There's a raging desire which knows no end. Skin withers, seasons struggle. Autumn calls with ruthless grace. When time passes, there's no pride to hold. I look askance at her unstretched face. I see her wonder, still stuck in stars. She calls out gently as a plea, confused, expectant, as she moves her hand. I can find solace in a deep-end hug, my dried leaves burning to a flame. But she wants a log fire of midwinter made combustible to her touch. I look at her naked as a blaze, her love a blanket she wears thin. So much of her, so little of me, was love maths, an average of extremes. There is a hiatus in all that pains, when all our care can't find a wind vane. We hold ourselves in our own cradle like a temple alive to a single prayer. We made love in our own way, not calamitous, not celebratory in the end. She didn't relent, I didn't fail, my love redeemed at the altar of sex. I held her close, more comfort than desire. We both knew we'd now reached a phase. For love is a feral cry in some throats, and in some it survives with a gentle ache. For love is a feral cry in some throats, and in some it survives with a gentle ache. I think too much has been said of the sublimity of lovemaking and too little of its difficulties. The mechanics are intuitive, not the art. There are subtleties which makes the endeavour one of discovery. You can very well put your foot on the pedal and race the car away, but to drive whilst appreciating the passing scenery, to manage the bumps on the road and to reach the destination drenched in beauty is an experience which goes beyond elemental understanding. And what about the time when the body ages and desire doesn't, or when you age and your partner doesn't? Lovemaking then is both a rare whiskey and a marathon. When you get there, it's a relief first and then a celebration. If you don't, it's a recognition that time and tide always have their sad messages. But more than anything else, it is an insight into the kindness and affection of partners in love. How do you face changes of diminishing desire or sheer inability? The broader lesson is how relationships need to be open to change and find ways of resolution rather than letting issues overwhelm them. The tenacity of a relationship will be tested time and again in all kinds of ways, and one of the most moving testaments to it is of acceptance. When we love the soul of a man, small things are quirks, big things are quiddities, and everything is an opportunity to again find grace in the enjoined life. This is Sunil Bhandari, and you were listening to Uncut Poetry. Did you know that I've started a newsletter called The Uncuts? It's a weekly, and it is full of grace and music and art and poetry. Get the link in the show notes. And did you like this episode? If you did, you must share it with someone you love. And why not follow Uncut Poetry on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Ghana, JioSaavn, Google Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. See you next week.